Madam Speaker, but in a country like Pakistan, is it not the state's responsibility to at least say that yes, the 5% most vulnerable people in the country or the 10% most vulnerable people in this country are indeed the state's responsibility to provide for? Madam Speaker, keeping that logic, the government in the previous year only, in the previous financial year, introduced the Benazir Income Support Program. We made an allocation of about 30 billion rupees for that, 22 billion rupees was spent. This year, Madam Speaker, the allocation for that has been increased to 70 billion rupees. And Madam Speaker, we agree completely and we realize that we do not want to turn this nation into a nation of beggars. What is the Benazir Income Support Program about? Let me repeat again, Madam Speaker, because despite having repeated several times, I don't think the whole scope or the menu list of the services that the Benazir Income Support Program plans to provide within this financial year are very clear to either this House or to this nation. Madam Speaker, this program will also include for the same households, and first of all, Madam Speaker, I think it is extremely important to mention in front of this House, and because the honourable members of this House also have a role to play in identifying who the poor are. Madam Speaker, we need to make sure that we have a transparent process, completely transparent process, where nobody can raise a finger as to whether this process is transparent or not, whether the people who this funding is going to are the real poor or the imaginary poor or our party's people or your party's people. That process should be transparent, not for our sake, but for the sake of the poor of this country, Madam Speaker. And therefore, Madam Speaker, currently for 16 districts there is a survey going on which is going to determine as to where the poor are, household by household, Madam Speaker. And by the end of this year, we hope that the entire country would have a poverty survey which will identify as to which are the poor households. And then what services will be extended to these poor households? First of all, health insurance up to a maximum of 25,000 rupees per family. Then, Madam Speaker, because once you identify who the poor are, you don't want them to remain poor forever. You want to make sure that they are able to come out of the poverty net and become a matter of pride for this country and for their own households. Therefore, Madam Speaker, skill development training will be imparted to each household. And Madam Speaker, all of this, inshallah, is going to start within this year. What else have we done for the poor, Madam Speaker? The budget for the People's Work Programme for fiscal year 2009-10 stands at rupees 35 billion. This will generate employment at their doorsteps, in their mohallas, in their tehsils, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, now I come to the second pillar of the 9th-point economic reform agenda. Madam Speaker, again, the strength of this country, the do or die, the make or break of this country will be in the people of this country, Madam Speaker. About 60% of our population is currently in the category of youth, in the category of young. They can either be a dividend for us or they can be your biggest challenge. Investing in them is your foremost responsibility. And Madam Speaker, it is nobody's doing. It is the doing of successive governments in this country, Madam Speaker. So we don't lay the blame on anyone. We lay the blame on ourselves. As a nation, we have not invested in our human resource. And this is a fact that none of us will be able to deny. Madam Speaker, this is also a fact that currently in the Human Development Index, Pakistan is one of the lowest countries in the world. What have we tried to do, Madam Speaker? From a paltry 1.8% of the GDP, next year we plan to take this to 3%, the year after that 4% of the GDP. Then, Madam Speaker, development funding to the Higher Education Commission has been enhanced from 16.4 billion to 22.5 billion in this financial year. The development allocations for health have been increased by 66% to rupees 23.15 billion in financial year 2009-10. National programs for family planning and primary health care and expanded program for immunization continue to receive top priority with respective allocations each of rupees 7 and 6 billion. Then, Madam Prime Minister, the Prime Minister's Emergency Action Plan for Disease has been launched and will cost rupees 11 billion in the next 5 years. Let me state, Madam Speaker, that we are fully committed to achieving the Millennium Development Goals, and we will expend whatever resources we have to be able to achieve that. Madam Speaker, then let me come to the second common theme that ran through the criticism that came. that this government lacks no vision whatsoever to invest in the productive sectors of this economy. Despite the fact that agriculture happens to be the third pillar of the 9-point economic reform agenda of this government has paid no attention to agriculture. Madam Speaker, again, actions speak louder than words. 294 billion rupees extra to the farmers of this country for wheat because they deserve it. And Madam Speaker, we have to hear that you have increased the price of wheat. I pose a question to this House, Madam Speaker. Would you rather subsidize the American and Australian farmer, or would you rather subsidize, or not subsidize, give proper, his needful, rightful terms of trade to the farmers of this country so that he can truly make you a breadbasket for this entire region? Madam Speaker, we go further than that, because price signalling is something that the government has demonstrated in the previous year, and price signalling is something that the government plans to adopt as a consistent policy, because consistency in price signalling will give the right signal to the farmer. Then, Madam Speaker, the second most important problem in this country is clearly that of research and development. Then, Madam Speaker, there were also questions raised about BT Cotton and government having done these secret deals with Monsanto. Madam Speaker, may I put a fact in front of you, you being from the farming community, and I think a lot of people from this August House being from the farming community. Madam Speaker, back in 2000, I think early 2000s, Pakistan and India both stood at 12.5 million bales in terms of cotton production. India happened to decide to go for BT Cotton through Monsanto. India is currently at more than 30, and you are still going between 12 and 13 and 14, then coming back to 12. Is this how we want to go around our business, Madam Speaker? So I support fully the government's intention of introducing BT Cotton. I think this will go a long way for your agriculture, and I think this will go a long way for your industry.